All right, I figured I'd sit down for this one today. See, as we're talking about coffee enemas, right? The back end, the gut health, GI tract, all that is not real fun to talk about. But when we understand how we can mobilize, how we can have healthier paths, then I want to explore those therapies, try them out, see what happens with myself, with clients, and just want to share what I've seen, but also help those that have gone down the path that I have, where we had dysfunctional guts, we have bloating, we have digestive issues, we have allergies. And really the purpose of coffee enemas is to clear out what our body can't clear out, right? I get a lot of, people asking like, oh, well, it wasn't natural. God designed us, from, the top to the bottom. And I do agree with that. And also understand that we're exposed to a lot of elements, ingest things, exposures, physically, chemically, emotionally, that we weren't ever intended to. So that's where a therapy like this can help move things along. So in overview of it, and I don't want to say this is medical advice, this is something that I've used my experience, my research, my time, and doing it myself many times, as well as having others do it, where I've seen those benefits. So understanding that first and foremost, it's going to clear your colon, right? So this is something that a lot of us need. A lot of us are carrying anywhere between 3 to 7 pounds of waste in our colon that is just backed up, right? So the coffee itself acts as an astringent to the wall of the colon. So it's going to clear that debris out and help with some heavy metals, some parasites, some candida, some things that are just building up in your colon. The other thing that we see is that the caffeine in the coffee is not going to bother you as if you were drinking the coffee, so don't worry about that, even if you have sensitivity to caffeine. But on the other side of it is that the bundle of nerves that is connected to your colon is stimulated and produces glutathione, which is amazing for the body. That is a whole nother segment, so just check that out and see what is going to happen there. But also to understand that the portal vein that is directly connected your liver to your colon, so every 3 minutes that you hold this coffee in your colon, that's how long it takes for your blood to filter. So your liver and your gallbladder can dump out impurities directly into the colon during this process, and it greatly increases that. So would you not want to filter and clear out your blood? Absolutely. So you're going to start this off and probably only last about 30 seconds, and that's okay, and use very low volume, maybe a half a cup to a cup, but you're going to get up to maybe 4 or 6 cups, and it happens, and depending on how your tolerance is and how you're dealing with it, but very, very low and slow, short periods of time. Don't feel like you've got to be this marathon and hold it 12, 15 minutes. Not going to happen, and you're not going to hold it at all if you've never even done any colonics. So bear with it. So would love to have comments, thoughts, concerns, ideas. I'm going to go right behind this with some details on it. So I hope this really helps out, and here to investigate, look at, and really research all of these therapies, but glad I could share this one with you. All right, so we're getting this coffee in, right? And this is critical, I think, understanding priming this, and temperature is huge here, because if this is too hot, it's gonna burn your butt, right? If it's too cold, we know cold contracts, and then you're going to feel an immense contraction in your colon when you're doing this enema. So that room temperature, the whole baby bottle on your wrist, put the tip of your pinky in the coffee, let it cool down, but not so cold that it's not tolerated by your body. So that's some things I never heard when I was starting this out, and kind of figured it out as I was going along. Now, something else I want to really emphasize here is the clip on your hose, right? So if you have that completely locked down and closed before you put your coffee in the bottle, you notice I've kind of got this set up where I hook up my bottle inside the shower so it's got enough momentum to get down, because if you have too much slack on this hose and it's laying on the floor, you're not going to be able to have gravity push that coffee into you. So always have it a little higher to where you have about a foot to 18 inches off or of hose left, so you've got some hose to work with to manipulate it into the sphincter area. So always fun to talk about this. But anyway, putting in my perfectly temperatured coffee, and like I said, I had the clip closed on the end here. So what you're going to notice is that, right, no coffee's running through. You don't see any dark in the line because this is closed. Now, before you open it, you want to hold this tip above. Let's look at physics, right? So if I have the tip above and where that air is, and when I open this, you're going to see, okay, some coffee's running. There's some air in here, right? So I'm going to pick this up to get all that air pushed out, and it'll go out of the top of the bottle. But now you can see that the coffee is in the hose. So as I bring that coffee tip down, I'm going to slowly do that until I see it almost coming out of the tip. And even if you let a few drops come out, then I'm going to lock this down. Okay, so because there's no air displacement, it's not allowing any of this coffee to move. So when I position myself to start, as soon as I insert and I open this, then I'm going to be able to have coffee flow immediately, not a bunch of air bubbles. The other critical piece is when you open this, especially when you first start doing it, open it only a couple of clicks. Don't go wide open, because your colon is going to contract. That paracelsus is going to just go in overload. So just let it slowly go in, and we'll talk about the amount you use and where that is. But just wanted to make sure you guys know about temperature, know about priming the hose, and knowing about how to get this done correctly, and excited that you're taking this next step. So here's the floor setup, essentially having a towel for any drippage or leakage, but normally that shouldn't happen a ton once you've done this once or twice, but you want to prevent, messes. And then I have a towel for my head, and you are going to be laying on your right side. You're going to turn over here and there as you get used to it, but just want to give you a peek at what the setup looks like.